Good afternoon, this is Shindo. These articles are becoming so numerous that it really is impossible for me to devote as much time as I would want to. Understand this is nothing to do with me being some kind of bleeding heart liberal. I imagine that my opinion of Muslims is not much different than the average American. I want to point out these articles so that people can see the growing hatred that is coming from the Christian right. This article is titled, "This is what happened when a white man spat on a woman wearing hijab." Let me tell you folks, the fact that he's white has nothing to do with it. It is the Christian culture that has everything to do with it. Yes, most Christians, or most white people are Christians, at least in Europe. This is in England, and this man may not even call himself a Christian. But it is the Christian culture that tells us that these Muslims are all out to get us and that we need to show our hatred to them. Let me read this article. When the unthinkable happens to you in public place, the hope is that some anonymous stranger will come to your defense. But when Ekra Mohammed, a 20-year-old Muslim woman who lives in London, says she was spat on by an unidentified white man in a public bus, no one came to her defense. Instead, according to Mohammed's account, people laughed. Quote, "A white man spat on me in a bus of people and kept on cussing me out because of my hijab, while people smiled and laughed along," unquote. She tweeted from an account that has since been made private. The incident took place on a recent bus trip. Mohammed had been traveling with a friend, but when that friend got off the bus without her, the man began following Mohammed. Quote, "He started to go crazy. He said people like me were coming to this country and taking all the jobs," unquote. She recounted to the UK's Metro. But worse than the attack itself was the seemingly complicity of her fellow passengers. "I do think it's sad no one spoke up for me. The bus was full at one point, and you could tell no one wanted anything to deal with him, quote unquote," Mohammed said. Anti-Muslim hate crime have tripled in London after November's terrorist attack in nearby Paris, according to figures reported by the BBC. Musarat Zia of the Muslim Women Network UK told BBC about attacks that have been reported to the group. Quote, "We've had people coming forward and telling us about being avoided in the shopping mall, people refusing to sit next to them on the bus," unquote. Another woman told the BBC that it's the first time since 2005 London bombings that she's, quote, "felt so unsafe in my own city." Now, what's really telling about this, you've got 6,051 comments on here on Yahoo. And comments, the most replied comment, which is always automatically on top, at least for me, has 474 thumbs up, 130 down. Another Muslims are victims article about the liberal jihadi codding media. Yawn. Why don't these Muslims assimilate and blend into the American culture like the many other immigrants who have moved here, except for the fact that this isn't even the United States. This is in London. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I suggest to anybody that is not a Christian, and this is my point here. I'm not afraid of any of these people because I don't feel I need to be afraid. The only people who are in fear right now are people who karmically should be afraid. So I'm not saying this out of fear. I'm just saying this out of fact of what you can see using simple prognostication skills here. What's going to happen in the coming year is Muslims are going to be the ones who are going to be abused, and then the Christians, not just the white